everyone. My name is Simran, and today we are here for a very, very special reason. As you all know, music has always played a pivotal part in our lives, irrespective of our age, language, gender, or even personality. We all connect to music. Whatever the mood, occasion, or situation, there is always music that can resonate with our emotions. For most Indians, music has either been associated with classical and devotional themes or the movies, be it Bollywood, Tollywood, Hollywood, or any other, except for a brief period in the 90s and early 2000s. We have rarely seen independent music, get its due, at least until the pandemic hit. While it was slowly gaining popularity with a niche audience, the last 2 years have seen a major change in the music industry and trends lending a lot of opportunities for independent musicians. Today, we are going to discuss the changing landscape of the music industry with a focus on independent music, along with sharing the launch of a brand new initiative that brings together the two big media players, 92.7 Big FM and Hungama ArtistAloud, to discuss about this very, very special initiative. We have some very special guests with us today. And the guests are Mr. Sunil Kumaran, Country Head, Product, Marketing and Think Big FM. Sunil Kumaran is a content and revenue strategist. He has experience of over 2 decades in broadcast and media industry. Currently, as country head at Big FM, he focuses on driving the group's growth strategies through initiatives around audio and digital content, data and insight mining practices, leveraging the power of audio and streaming platforms, connected devices, and through social commerce. And next, we have Somni Sridhar Paul. Well, she is the Senior Vice President, ArtistAloud, Hungama Kids, YouTube Brand Solutions, and CSR Initiatives, Hungama Digital Media Entertainment Private Limited. I'd like to welcome both of them. And along with that, we have the super talented, yes, singer, songwriter, musician, composer, actor, and the founder and lead singer of the band Euphoria, Dr. Palash Sen. He's the founder and the frontman of the India's best known band, Euphoria. Welcome all of you over here. How are you all?
I'm good, thank you.
How are you?
So much. Thank you, Simran. Thank you for the introduction. Great to be here.
And how are you, Dr. Palash?
इतना introduction दिया मैं अच्छा होऊंगा यार, super talented बोला तो. So hi Sunil, hi Somni, hi Simran. You said something about the brief period in the 90s and the early 2000s when independent music was heard and it was followed. And one of the people who was responsible for that is on the panel. Somni is there. And she was one of the people who was really responsible for that. And we are here. I spoke to Sunil a few months back also, and I was absolutely mesmerized by the fact that somebody was really going to push independent music wholeheartedly. And Somni has been pushing independent music for the last 20 years. So I really think I couldn't have been in better company. And तुमने मुझे इतना अच्छा introduction दिया तो मैं तो इस समय आप पे फिदा हूँ तो बहुत अच्छा time है. Very nice time.
I love you for this. But now, starting this discussion with Sunil sir. Sir, my first question to you is that how has the independent music landscape grown in the recent times, if you have to talk about this?
Sure. So unlike the rest of the world, the music scene in India is, I think, predominantly dominated by the mainstream feature films, right? But yes, independent music has seen a significant resurgence, and it is very, very heartening to see that. Some statistics tell me that the last 6 months has seen almost some 1,300 singles and some 200 albums being released, which is absolutely wonderful to listen to. And if you really step back and think about why this is happening, I think there are a few reasons that come to my mind. One of the main reasons would be the sheer growth of internet and the penetration of internet and smartphones in the country, right? Like independent music was always loved, but it was always operating in certain niches in the country. Now with the distribution coming into force, like distribution channels like YouTube, the social media platform and all the streaming platforms that are coming into force, the exposure of independent music is gone up multifold. That's reason number one. That's the other reason is the technological advances that we are seeing, right? So if you recollect in the erstwhile era, if you want to kind of put a song out there, there's so many people involved, there's so much infra involved and things like that. But now composing, recording, uploading a song is so much simpler and easy. And these days you have both, singers and songwriters single-handedly doing the entire thing. So that has kind of been one of the bigger contributors towards the change. All this is also kind of, I think, stimulating the whole creator economy, the artist economy, so to say, both from the number of players who are coming into play, as well as the kind of content that we are seeing out there. I think both of them are kind of growing by leaps and bounds. So these are the big reasons I can think of. The pandemic definitely kind of also had a role to play, so to say. The shortage of mainstream music kind of egged people to go and sample more of these independent music. And that also kind of triggered or stimulated the whole space. So I think it's a great time ahead. Yeah, like you mentioned right in the beginning, we're looking forward to seeing the 90s magic happening again and more so. And I think the space is going to grow from strength to strength.
We are definitely going to go places. You are absolutely right. So, Somni, my next question is for you. So what do you think, how has the pandemic impacted the music and the artists?
Well, I think one of the biggest reasons that we've seen such a high surge in independent music coming out was there was no Bollywood. So I think, for people who wanted to consume content and wanted to be able to keep themselves entertained, there was that demand that gave artists an opportunity to feel that, okay, now is the time that they can actually put out, new content or just go out there and express their creativity. I think the fact remains that it was as much I think artists were always creating even before the pandemic. They just weren't getting noticed before that. And if you see, even when it came to a lot of streaming platforms, they also started positioning the content more with the artist's face in mind. So of course, popular artists got more visibility as always, but I think it just made artists realize, especially you see a lot of the Bollywood singers doing a lot of independent music, because, if you're a singer, how are you going to keep yourself sustained? So I'm just hopeful that, we shouldn't have to have a pandemic to have independent artists, get their due. I just feel, hopefully this is, if there's anything to take away from such a horrible disease, is there is, a parallel stream of creativity, and they should get as much visibility. I think this is the time to now actually give it that push.
Yes, this is the time that they get that due. You are absolutely right. So coming to you, Palash, now, what do you feel that, are some of the biggest challenges, according to you, that indie artists, bands, they face?
I think Sunil and Somni have been very, very gracious in saying what they said. I'm going to be a little more brutal. See, basically, क्या है पैसा का चक्कर है और कुछ भी नहीं. It's actually money. You understand. Basically, what happened in the late 2000s and the ensuing years, what happened was that the film guys, they realized that the only way to control the entire music situation was money, and they had more money than the non-film guys, obviously. So what they did was that they bought almost everything. And it includes radio, it includes television, it includes digital spots, media. Everything was bought by them because they knew how they will get the money back, which was through their films. So they were not taking out music for the sake of music. They were taking out music to promote their films, and automatically the money would be made back by the films. The non-film guys, they didn't have any other source of making money back excepting music. So in a competitive place where something is being promoted with crores riding on it, and something is being promoted by a few thousands or lakhs riding on it, automatically the crore market wins. It's like that. Now, what happened now, and Somni, Somni both have said that, what happened now is that basically there are two things that actually brought independent music back. One, being that people are really fed up. मतलब लोगों को तंगी हो गई है, अब कितना तुम रीमिक्स सुनोगे और तुम कितना एक तरह का म्यूजिक सुनोगे, जो कि अभी भी खत्म नहीं है. The so-called independent singers are all sounding the same. I'm not going to take names. They all sound the same. You sit down and listen to them. They all sound the same. They're all talking about women being bad and somebody has broken their heart. Or kuch nahi ho raha. That's what independent music is. That's reason number one. Reason number two being, films are not being released. Very, very few films are released for the last 2 years. Automatically, music is not coming. They don't need to. And if you go on to the OTTs, music is not that important to promote a film. When you go to the theaters, music is more important. So automatically, as I said, it was all economics. It was actually money. And now the film guys are realizing they'll have to actually make good content instead of just making music and promoting a film. So that's where the independent game came back into, what should I say, into the play. But at the same time, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this loud for ArtistAloud, and I'm going to say this for Big FM. What you guys are doing now is going to be path breaking, because this is what all independent musicians needed. They needed a dedicated channel on radio for people to keep listening to independent music continuously. When you're traveling, when you're here, there, wherever, instead of hearing the latest Mayat Wala Gana, it's important that you get to hear some independent music. So thank you, Sunil. Thank you, Somani, for coming together and doing this. I think every independent musician in this country is always going to be grateful to you.
So let's calm down you a bit now and and present what we've been waiting for. And let's take just this short happy break to reveal the hashtag, the BlueMic, this beautiful initiative that will play an instrumental role in promoting indie artists and give budding talents a platform where they celebrate independent music. Let's present hashtag the BlueMic, your independent favorites, an initiative by Big FM and Hangama ArtistAloud. So that was the beautiful logo of this beautiful initiative. Yay!
Yeah.
So excited.
And
Congratulations, guys.
Yes.
Congratulations to Sunil and Somni and to everyone at Big FM and everyone at ArtistAloud.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations to all the independent artists of the country.
Congratulations. Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, each one of you. But now moving on to the next question. All right. So moving ahead, since we presented this was outstanding. This was amazing. So now, Sunil sir, this question is for you. Why this name hashtag the BlueMic? This is quite intriguing, but what is the significance? Tell us more about the format.
Okay, so interesting. I'm happy you asked the question. So when we decided to do this initiative, we were aiming to capture, the name should be capturing the essence of what we are trying to do. So, so we did a lot of brainstorming before we arrived at this whole premise called the BlueMic, So music at its core is all about expression. And when it comes to independent music, it becomes all the more pertinent because I think it kind of almost doesn't have any shackles that bind other forms of music that we are so used to, right? It's a free-flowing expression. It's a creative space. So we thought of the color blue. Blue kind of represents, the sky, the big ocean, the openness, the imagination, and so to say. So that's where the blue part came in. And mic is the way of expressing, right? Reaching out to people. So that's how the whole amalgamation of this whole name came about, which is the BlueMic. In a sense, it is about providing a platform where people can express themselves through music. So that's the larger promise of the platform. And I think the name kind of beautifully captures that essence. Yeah.
Undoubtedly, you are absolutely right. Absolutely right. So now, Shomni, asking you, how will independent artists benefit from the show? Can you also talk a little about the show positioning?
Yeah, so I think, in 2010, when we launched ArtistAloud, we wanted to, we launched with 30 artists and we thought that media would pick it up. And unfortunately, at that time, there was really, I think, television had moved on to, television actors, and Bollywood was very big, and radio too, had taken Bollywood as the only stream, I would say. But I think what we have seen even in the late 90s, it's always been terrestrial media that has played a big role in kind of just giving a certain positioning for a content. It's like even today with all the digital, when you see an artist on TV, there is some element of premiumness to it. And I think that's the beauty of what radio will bring to the table. There is a sense of hand-picked approach. There is, and being a linear medium, it kind of becomes, something that the consumer knows has, someone's done the dirty work of trying to pick the best and then present it in that hourly show that we're going to put out. So I think the Monday to Friday, a daily show format definitely will hopefully become a tune-in model for people to come on to the station and listen to the show. And of course, through the Hungama network, we cannot ignore digital because, I mean, that's here and it's just going to get bigger and better. But I think the collaboration of terrestrial and digital is what when Big FM and Hungama ArtistAloud came together and discussed and felt it can't get bigger than this because, yes, of course, TV may be missing out, but the true fact is we're taking care of that digitally. So there's going to be an audio show on the station, and there's going to be a video, format of it, which you can watch on all the Hungama platforms. So I'm actually most excited of that, because the consumer decides where he wants to consume, So if he wants to watch Palash, he comes on to the digital platforms. He wants to hear Palash, he can just go on to Big FM.
Yay! Wow, that sounds so cool and so interesting. And I'm sure this is going to go on for a millennium. Sounds so cool. Wow. So Palash, now coming to you, what are your thoughts on Big FM and Hungama ArtistAloud's latest offering, the BlueMic, hashtag the BlueMic?
I think Sunil wanted to say something.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add a bit to what Soumini was saying.
Sorry.
That this is going to be such an immersive experience for the listeners, both from an audio and a visual perspective, because we're kind of almost opening up the world of independent music to them. So it's not going to be just the song part, which obviously is going to be the highlight, but we will take them through the artist's journey, the inspiration behind the song. We have thought of interesting formats like a countdown format. They will mix the older ones with the newer ones so that you can rediscover some of the beautiful old independent music with the new ones and so on. So and like Soumini said, we have Palash to headline the first week itself. So I think we're really excited about that. Yeah.
So Palash, what do you have to say about hashtag the BlueMic?
So for me, blue is the color of the movies that are banned in India right now. So jokes apart, I think blue for me represents independence. It actually represents freedom, more than anything else. It actually represents freedom for me, if you see through the ages, the color blue has always been associated with something which is royal, which is brave, which has done something different. And I don't know if Sunil thought of all these things, but I'm sure he had a very, very good idea why he was keeping the name BlueMic. I'm very sure about it. But for me, the representation of blue is actually the representation of freedom. Or wahi cheez, that is what we all need in this country. Actually, we need true freedom, more than anything else. Because, there's so, it's not only this country, maybe in the whole world, we keep on talking about freedom and we keep on talking about independence and indie and stuff like that. But are we truly free? That's the question that we all have to answer. And as, I'm just going to pitch my album over here. So the album is called Sale. There's a reason why I call it Sale, because what you guys are doing is absolutely opposite to the way the whole system is working right now. Everything is on sale. Everything is on sale, whether they are the virtues, it's honesty, it's love, it's friendship, it's brotherhood. Everything is, har cheez ka price hai, khareedne wala bhi hai, bechne wala bhi hai. So that is why this entire initiative for me is so important, because suddenly you guys are coming and saying we're going to hold the hands of those who don't really have the money and don't have the muscle. Muscle thoda to hai, but not have the money or the muscle to push their music. And that's where, two brands which are so huge, Hungama and Big FM, have come in and really, really given so much hope to everybody. Because that's the only thing that is missing for independent music in this country. A backing, a true backing. That's all they need. There are enough independent musicians in this country that actually are way better than what you hear in Bollywood. Way better. But unko koi sun nahi sakta. The problem is, how do you reach the audience? And that's where you guys come in. And that's why I'm so excited and aggressive and euphoric today.
Yeah, I'd like to also add one more point here, Simran. I think the beauty about the independent artists is you're largely, meeting or experiencing single songwriters. And hence, the dependency on a flashy music video is not so much as actually just hearing them and experiencing their music. So whatever we are doing, even in a video format, like Sunil said, is actually going to be more about profiling that artist, getting people to know more. And I mean, if I stem back to even in the days when I used to be with Channel V, we had the music video, but then we created formats where we got to interact with the artist because you really want people to know the artist. And then the music kind of becomes, just it's like beauty in the eye of the beholder. You love somebody, even the most ugly person looks good. So I think it's just the medium of digital and radio is actually the best medium for independent music, more than television, I would feel.
True, absolutely true. You're absolutely right. But now, though you've already answered this question because we've been speaking about this at length, we spoke about this at length, but still, why did the two brands they decide to join hands? A very basic, a cliche question, but I had to ask this to Sunil sir and to Shobni.
Yeah, okay, if I have to go first. It is actually important to understand when two large platforms collaborate. They collaborate primarily because they see complementary skills or advantages coming into play, right? So when we were looking at partnerships and both the partners evaluated each other, we thought that we kind of really bring in complementary strengths which will add up to make this into a very, very strong and powerful proposition. If you look at the radio play, we all understand radio is very, very widespread. Like Big FM operates out of 58 markets and deeply penetrated into tier 2, tier 3 and things like that. So that offers an amazing amount of reach on the audio platform. We have other strengths that come into play, right? We have over 100 radio jockeys. Now they are powerful influencers in their own geographies. And marketing and promotion is going to play a big role when it comes to pushing this as a proposition. So both parties are going to bring their strengths onto play. So radio will definitely bring its reach, its influence, its ability to kind of connect at a mass level with the audience. Also, its understanding of regional markets. Radio, one of the big strengths of radio is it operates out of different geographies. So it understands regional nuances, how to communicate to those audiences so that they are both effectively engaged with the listening experience. So that's what we bring to the table. And similarly, Hangama, Somini, you want to add?
Yeah, I think, I would say even the timing was really perfect because over the last 2 years, we were very consciously wanting to also focus on regional talent. And while we were doing what we were doing, through our platform and through our social communities, I think to have a terrestrial partner who already has a foothold in the regional space, to be able to bring in an artist and then give him, airtime in a regional station, it just can't get better, right? So I think, if I was to say why radio as a partner, I think that has been addressed already. But why Big FM? I just feel the whole footprint was, I think, a complete, checkbox. Like, if we have to go with a radio partner, who is the right person? And I think the way we started our conversation, it was absolutely smooth. It was there was no resistance. Sometimes when you're trying to build a partnership, there's always something comes up. But touch wood, till date, everything has just been falling into place. Every team member from both ends is just driven to make this happen. We're hopeful the artists will give us the NOCs in time so that we can actually roll this out, because that is a huge challenge. But at the end of the day, there's only one agenda, and that is how can the independent scene get more commercial? Because yes, Palash, while at this point there may not be any money in it, we have to make it commercially successful. It's like how my MD, 5 years after I ran ArtistAloud, say, think paisa. Paisa nahi sochogi to business nahi chala payegi. So I think, that is something between Big FM and us. We're very clear. As soon as we can see potential, we want to be able to, bring in brands, get them associated. And just grow the muscle so that it is not something that is just a fly-by-night, initiative. It is something that we want to have for the next 3 years, 4 years, and God willing, for future generations.
And things are definitely going to fall into place as they have been falling till now. So, touch wood. So, Palash, my next question is for you. That do you think the Artist of the Week format it is going to help in building a deeper association of artists with the fans?
Of course. What Swami just said, Sunil said, I think it's important that the artist becomes part of the system, of people's families, of their thinking, the entire thing around them. And I think by profiling an artist, by saying that this is the artist of the week, so people get to hear that. The thing is this, maybe an artist like Euphoria has that much body of work, where, you can play. So now this is our 8th album, so you can imagine how many songs have been released. Forget about the singles. So you guys have enough stuff to sustain us for a week. I'm just thinking that, maybe, I don't know, there's just an idea that, when a newer artist is being launched and, you are talking about an artist of a week, I think you should maybe combine, say, 2 or 3 different artists, and then call them artists of the week. So there's excitement for the people to follow, them, because they might not have that much of body of work to present in front of to the people. अब आर्टिस्ट ऑफ द वीक में यही हो जाएगा कि जितने लोग बहुत सालों से लगे हुए हैं, हम लोग हैं, लकी भाई हैं, या फिर people who Papon hai, people who've been doing for many years, wahi dikhenge. So I just think this initiative, and I know Somni is like that because she has actually launched, I don't know how many artists that actually nobody else would have launched, honestly, because she saw talent in them, and that is the main thing. That's what Big FM and ArtistAloud have to do even now. That launch somebody, and because you guys have that power to push, an unknown guy can become the next Lucky Ali, or become the next Silk Route or Euphoria or whatever. I think it'll be great. I really think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. My biggest request to Somni is don't speak about the next 3-4 years. Please speak about 30-40 years. Otherwise,
that's why I said millennium.
Bilkul.
Bilkul, absolutely right. So now, Sunil sir, the next question is for you. While Bollywood is a well-oiled machinery already, will independent music also move in that direction? And if yes, what are the steps to be taken in that direction?
Okay. I think that's a very, very good question. And I think, I would want to kind of refer to what Palash did right at the beginning. He hit the nail on its head when he said, "Paisa kahan hai?" Right? So, for an industry to thrive and for independent music as an industry to thrive, there are quite a few things that have to fall into place, and we are acutely aware of that. Okay, one is the scale of operation has to be large. Okay, it cannot be a niche operation. Okay, the scale at which we do things have to be large for it to be successful. And what does that mean? That means that when you need deep reach, you need widespread reach, you need a lot of marketing and promotion muscle being put behind everything that you're doing. You need active engagement of the platform as well as the artist. It's so important that the entire ecosystem has to work for it to become a viable business proposition, So the platforms have to start thinking quickly about how do you scale this up? How do you build artists? How do you prop them up? How do you create different revenue sources? Be it through advertising, through merchandising, through building communities or gigs or whatever that may be. Artists have to start thinking about how they can contribute to kind of push this whole thing. The platforms have to ensure that artists find this viable as a financial proposition. So I think it's extremely important to have your skin in the game to start with, a cohesive strategy, the extreme level of commitments, and a long-term vision for this to happen. So only then it will really scale into a large proposition. It's a powerful proposition, but you really require a cohesive strategy to make it happen.
True, absolutely. A lot of hard work is required in that. So, Somni, my last question is for you. That Hungama ArtistAloud is known to work extensively in the independent music space. How do you see the hashtag, the BlueMic, further advancing your brand purpose, and what are your future plans?
Yeah, so I think, first of all, I would say if we look at the journey of the last 11 years that we've been building, I think one of the things that has kept us going is we've just been at it. We've been, just being very prudent, but at the same time making sure that, you know, every year there's something new added to it. So I'm super excited that in our 12th year now, you know, we're announcing this partnership. But I feel it is, you know, it's very early days for us to say that this is going to change the game. I think what we are more excited about is the footprint that we are able to, you know, literally take our brand as well as the initiative, and that is the starting point. I think artists have more or less, you know, kind of realized that they need to be part of the ecosystem, or they need to participate in the ecosystem along with their music. And, you know, someone like Palash, or when we see even bands like Parikrama, or a lot of bands, you know, a lot of individual artists as well, they've all realized that they need to also be part of the experience. And, you know, we see a lot of openness, whether it's a free gig, a paid gig, or it's a brand gig, or whatever. You know, there is so much of professionalism that we see with artists today, because they understood that yes, it's a job, and they have decided to take this as their career. So I think for us, when we look at the whole hashtag, the BlueMic, I think it is a beautiful starting point. And definitely, you know, with all of us coming together and saying this is the name, I think the name itself has a little bit of vibrance in it, you know. So we're quite hopeful, I think. And you know, we're obviously were able to even show the logo, so I'm sure people would like that, and hopefully that'll also get viraled out. So there's going to be testimony in all of that, and I'm hoping artists will also help us promote this initiative, so that, you know, they become a part of the family. But there is so much to do, and we're all just pulling up our socks and, you know, getting it done.
Yay! All the very best for all this, and thank you to three of you for your valuable time. It was great to have you. It was quite interesting, and what an insightful conversation. But it's not over as yet. In the end, Palash, can we invite your team, DJ Rakesh and Vishal from Euphoria, to please perform something for us that we hope to see on hashtag the BlueMic.
Hey, I think I'm going to be singing live for so many after many, many years. Yes.
Wow.
You just look at who's on screen. So many.
Hello, hello, hello.
Sorry, how are you?
Long time.
Rakesh Sauni, sir.
Hi.
Hi, Rakesh.
From Bigger Film, sir. Sauni and the Sydney. So, just before I do this song, I just want to add to something that Sunil said. You know, actually, this journey has been very, very difficult for Euphoria. Next month, we complete 23 years of our journey. And in these 23 years, yes, we've taken out a lot of music, but I just want to tell all of you, we've never earned from our music, you know. We've never earned from our music for a very simple reason that, you know, it was, Somani knows that she was an artist herself, that it was very difficult back in the day to actually demand, you know, mujhe royalty chahiye, mujhe ye chahiye, mujhe wo chahiye. You just signed on the line. It was like that. In fact, we got into trouble with one of the labels very, very seriously, you know, at one point, and it was a huge court case, but we fought. I just want to say this through this medium to everybody who's coming into this. It's not going to be easy. ये आसान रास्ता नहीं है. But हम लोगों ने लड़ा है. We have fought against it. We have fought the system. We have ridden the system. And now what is happening is that, you know, people know that these guys are fighters and they're here to stay. If Euphoria can do it for, and you know, all our income has been through gigs. We have just done gigs for 23 years. We've just, in fact, through the pandemic, we were doing virtual gigs. So that is our only source of income. All of us are professional musicians. We earn from our music. I just want to say this to all the guys who come into this business. Don't think film or movies or Bollywood is the last stop. It is not. It's just part of your journey. Music is the main journey. Stick to music, stick to the people. God and the audience of this country will carry you through. It's carried Euphoria, it's going to carry everybody. I'm very sure about it. From the new album. Ho kesariya palma kesariya मेरो बालमा केसरिया मेरो बालमा केसरिया मेरो बालमा जागी रहूं सारी रहना भीगर है मोर नैना जागी रहूं सारी रहना अब नहीं मोहे चैन केसरिया मेरो बालमा केसरिया हो केसरिया हो मेरो बालमा हो केसरिया हो मेरो बालमा जागी रहूं सारी रहना भीगर है मोरे नैना जागी रहूं सारी रहना अब नहीं मोहे चैन अब होना मेरो बालमा केसरिया
Awesome. Wow.
Thank you.
Back to 1999.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sony. Thank you, Sunil. Thank you, Simran.
That was
Thank
absolutely
you so
lovely.
much for this amazing session, all three of you. Thank you so much.